So this is the last answer to the last CRQ question of our first mock. As we can see, this basically relates to relevant costing. So the requirement is calculate the relevant cost of the contract to CDF. You must present your answer in a schedule that clearly shows the relevant cost value for each of the items. You should also explain each relevant cost value you have included in your schedule and why any values you have excluded are not relevant. So there is two aspects to this. First of all, we must have a schedule where I have a list of all the costs, and also we have to show the calculations of the cost as well as explain why we have included a cost or not included a cost. So the format over here is very important. So we will first go through the question. So we have a question regarding material D. So this is one cost. We have a cost of components, 2 labor hours, 3 machine, 4 operating cost of machine, which is 5, supervisor cost 6, development time 7, fixed overhead absorption rate 8. So basically there are in general 8 questions, 8 headers of cost, as well as we also have to keep into consideration that we have to write the explanations and stuff. So when it comes to relevant costing questions like this, the best way to go about this is by doing a table. So I'll show you how it's done. So we have to remember that there's 8 costs. So we need to give the headings, 8 different types of costs, as well as the total, and let's just keep one cell extra. So there we go. All right. So over here, we're gonna put the name of the cost. Over here, we're gonna do the values, and over here we're going to have the notes. So now we're going to look at every single one of them and try to calculate the relevant costs. Okay. So material D, 40 tons of material D would be required. This material is in regular use by CDF and has a current purchase price of $38 per ton. Currently there are 5 tons in inventory which cost $35 per ton. The resale value of the materials in inventory is $25 per ton. So my first header is going to be material D, and this is going to be note 1. So what we will do next is we're going to go down to the bottom and we are going to say note 1. In the note 1 we're going to explain the issue. Since material D is in regular use, uh, 40 tons of the required uh, is in regular use. The 40 tons is required by CDF will need to be replenished if used in the project. So the purchase price is the relevant cost. Price is relevant. I'll just bracket it here what the purchase price is going to be. So current purchase price is $38 per ton into 40. So 38 into 40 is how much? Let's just calculate this. It's 1520. So this is going to be 320. This is how we're going to be attempting it. So there goes my material D. Now let's come down to components. Okay, the components, 4,000 components would be required. This could be bought externally for $15 each, or alternatively they could be supplied by ADF. So now we have two options: either we can buy from external supplier or we can buy it internally. Okay, so note 2, let's just start writing something over here. 2, option 1, buy externally $15 each, and we need 4,000. So 15 into 4,000, that would be 60,000. 60,000. অল্টারনেটিভ টা কি আছে? অপশন 2। অপশন 2 হলো গিয়ে আমার ইন্টারনাল ট্রান্সফার। So দেখি ইন্টারনাল ট্রান্সফার টা কি আছে এখানে। So let's just put in option 2 here as well. Option 2, buy internally. If I buy internally, what are my costs? The variable cost is going to be $8, and RDF, whatever they do is they add 30% to its variable cost as contribution to fixed cost, plus a further 20% of this cost in order to set its internal transfer price. So very clearly in this question they have given the cost of internal transfer, at what price they're willing to sell internally. Okay, we'll calculate that. But RDF has sufficient capacity to produce 2,500 components without affecting its ability to satisfy its external customer. However, in order to make the extra 1,500 components required by CDF, RDF would have to forego an external sales of 50,000, which have a contribution to sales ratio of 40%. So I would ask everybody to look at this very carefully. They're saying out of this 4,000 components, 2,500 they can produce without affecting external sales, but 1,500, the extra other 1,500, if they make it, they will have to give up a sale of $50,000, or let's say a contribution of $20,000. So is this part of our relevant cost or not? Now please listen to me very carefully, because they have already set a transfer price. They're already saying they're willing to transfer at this price. We do not consider this as lost contribution or as an opportunity cost. Let me say it again, because they have specifically mentioned that this is a transfer price and they have their own calculations to cover it all up. So because the transfer price is already given, any other loss contribution or anything does not need to be included. So if we buy internally, what is going to be my relevant cost? $8 per unit. Okay. Into, definitely, what would we have to do? At 30% to contribute to its fixed cost. So into 1.3. Okay. And to that we need to 20% to this total cost to set its internal mass into 1.2. And for how many units? For 4,000 units. So let's see what the price comes down to. 8 into 1.3 into 1.2 into 4,000. So this is 49,920. Okay. So obviously of the two options, buying internally is cheaper So it is the relevant cost of relevant cost of components. Right? 49,920. Put this dollar sign up here. 49,920. So that's my note. Next up, labor hours. So let's put in labor hours here. 850 direct labor hours would be required. All direct labor hours within CDF is paid on an hourly basis with no guaranteed wage agreement. So there isn't any wage agreement, and as a result, our 850 hours, the grade of labor is currently $10 per hour, but Department W is already working at 100% capacity. So right now, our $850, we need $850 each labor hour, 850 hours, and each labor hour we pay $10, and they're already working at full capacity. Okay. So there are two ways it seems that they've given us, option 1 and option 2. So let's do the calculations. Note 3. Option 1 is what? Option 1 is I can use workers from Department Z because it has sufficient capacity, and these workers are paid $15 per hour. Okay. So one of the options is we can bring in workers from Department Z, and they're working at $15 per hour. So let's just give a heading: workers from Department Z. So that's going to be about $15 into how many hours? Into 850 hours. So that's about 15 into 850, 12,750. That's option 1. You can see that from department so because sufficient capacity outside, we're not going to stop them from working anywhere, so there's no opportunity cost of making them, so that's direct pay is relevant cost. All right. To arrange for subcontract workers to undertake some of the other work that is performed in Department W. The subcontract workers would cost $13 per hour. So my other option is option 2, which is I can make the people in W work in this contract and subcontract the work of W to somebody else. So let's see, subcontract. If you subcontract W, so what would my cost be? $13 per hour. So that's going to be 13 into 850, which is equal to, let's see, $11,050. So this should be $11,050. Of the two options, once again, second option is cheaper, or let's say option 2 is cheaper. So the relevant cost of direct labor is 11,057. So let's put in here 11,057. 050, and this is note 3. Okay. Next, specialist machine. The contract would require a specialist machine. The machine could be hired for 15,000 or it could be bought for 50,000. At the end of the contract, if the machine was bought, it could be sold for 13,000. Alternatively, it could be modified at a cost of 5,000 and then used on other contracts instead of buying out another essential machine that would cost 45,000. So this is actually a bit tricky. So in terms of specialist machine, let's see how much we can do this. This is going to be note 4. Let's go to note 4. So কি কি option আছে? Option 1 is I could hire for 15,000. Option 2, buy the machine. So if I buy the machine, remember I'm buying the machine for 50 and I'm selling it for 30. So my incremental cost is relevant. So in the case of buy, it's going to be 50,000 less 30,000. So my incremental cost is how much? 20,000. Sorry, my bad. The third option is modification. Option 3. If I modify, buy and sell, wait, buy and modify. So if I'm going to buy and modify, my purchase cost would be 50,000, right? And then I would need to add another 5,000 to modify the machine. And by doing this, I can save the cost of 45,000. As you can see here, used on other contracts instead of buying. So if I buy this for 50 and convert it to 5,000, I can use it in this specific contract, and then also I can use it in something where it would save me buying a machine worth 45,000, right? Over here, my incremental cost of using this machinery in this project is 10,000. Of the three options, buying and modifying a new machine, is the most cost effective. So the relevant cost of specialist machine is $10,000. Okay. This should be specialist machine should be $10,000. This is my specialist machine. So now operating cost, machine operating cost. If you're going to do a machine operating cost, which is said this is payable by CDF, okay, whether it hires or buys. So whether it hires or buys, they'll need to have to pay this, and it would cost $12,000 in respect of the new contract. So this is my future cost. This is an incremental cost. Let's give it in 0.5. 0.5. So note cut. What is note? The machine operation cost is a future cost and incremental. Incremental cost. So it is relevant. All right. Nothing more to explain here. Next cost is supervisor. The contract would be supervised by an existing manager who is paid an annual salary of 50,000. So he has an annual salary of 50,000 already, and we pay him already, and has sufficient capacity to carry out this supervision. So basically, this 50,000 we are going to pay him whether he does this work or not. So in terms of this, his annual salary is not a relevant cost. However, it would receive a bonus of $500 for the additional work. So in terms of the supervisor, is this $500 is going to be incremental, and his salary is not incremental because we are going to pay. So that is why put note 6. The annual salary of the supervisor is a committed cost and is not relevant. However, the bonus specific to the project is relevant because this is a future incremental cost. Future incremental. So I'm going to mention the query 500 over here. So mention the price over here as well. And that's my note. Lastly, development time. 15 hours of development time at a cost of 3,000 have already been worked in determining the resource requirements of the contract. So this development time or this development cost has already been borne. This is a sunk cost and not relevant. Okay. So this is going to be 0. So we will note 7. So let's mention it. Note 7. The cost relate the development cost has already been borne. And will have no and is a sunk cost. It will have no impact on the project cost So it is not a relevant. So there we go. That's note 7. The last one, note 8, fixed overhead absorption. Basically, I don't even need to go through this. We know that any overhead absorption is not a relevant cost because this is a fixed cost, and whether I am basically, yeah, taking this project or not taking this project, it is never going to be a relevant cost because I'll have to bear the fixed cost anyway. So fixed cost absorption, this is going to be 0. This is going to be note 8. So let's give in note 8. In terms of note 8, let's just mention the fixed overhead absorption rate is an accounting treatment and not specifically incremental cost, because this will not increase or decrease your fixed cost in relation to the project. Depreciation, the depreciation is a non-cash flow, so it is not a relevant cost. So let's add them all up and let's see what the total relevant cost of the contract is. Let's add them up. This is 1520 plus 49920 plus 11050 plus 10,000 plus 12,000 plus 500. So the total is basically, if I'm not wrong somewhere, it's 84,909. I just check it one more time. Unless as I keep saying, let's check if we have made a mistake somewhere or not. So let's just recalculate the entire thing. 1520 plus 49,920 plus 11050 plus 10,000 plus 12,000 plus 500. So 84990 is my answer, and that's it. So let's beautify this because we have more than enough time. Okay. So see, when we're doing relevant costing, we have to basically calculate, of course, but we definitely also have to explain why we have taken a cost or not taken a cost. All right. So that's that. Till next class, take care and stay safe. So this should basically help us get 20 marks. So have a look at this one more time.